Hi, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim from the Canton Clay Works, many times known as Tim the Potter. What I'm going to do in the next video is another variation of bowl. I really love to teach my beginners and my beginner instructions a series of very sophisticated but simple to make bowls. What we're going to do now is what I would call a twill texture, very much like textile and basketry on the exterior of a bowl. So I'm not going to repeat all the hand positions. You can see that in the review of hand positions video. And I'm just going to start right in, throw my cylinder, texture it, and rib it into a bowl. Coning up, coning down. Cosmetic centering. I try to work as fast as possible once I'm really comfortable with my clay, its water density, and my hand positions. I recommend that all for you. Don't take too much time so you don't soften the clay. Opening. Opening with the right fingers and the left fingers. Checking my rim, also known as compressing the rim. Then I compress the bottom. All of these are in the hand position video. So I'm compressing the bottom from the center point to the inside wall at 3 o'clock. Good. That's our foundation form from which we're going to make our vessel. I'm going to pull this up. This is the hand position. Squeeze the side wall in. That bulge we pull vertically. And I tend to pull vertically upward and inward to combat the natural forces of centrifugal force throwing the rim out. I pull up and in slightly, so I'm not pulling up and out. I rib to shape, meaning with the tool I shape it outward. I don't throw it to its shape. The reason is because I tend to do an awful lot of design and texture on the exterior of these pieces that I want to be exaggerated as the wall is being stretched out. I'm using a Japanese clay comb. You can buy these from your suppliers. And I'm going to texture the exterior wall with this clay comb. Similar to the faceted bowl, I'm going to push my upper rim inward so that I have a smooth, symmetrical rim. And below this ledge is where my texture is going to be. So I'm taking this clay comb, and while the wheel is spinning, I'm going to do a slight diagonal, moving it vertically, texturing the exterior wall, and I texture the entire exterior wall. And I go around and just make sure that I haven't missed anywhere. Looks good. Now what I do is I change the direction of my wheel. Excuse me for leaning over. I'm just hitting the gear switch. Now I'm going clockwise. And I very lightly do the same texture, but I press the clay comb in much lighter because I don't want to eliminate the texture going the opposite direction. And what it is going to have is a simile of a weave or a twill, intersecting texture that looks like textile. But I don't want to push so hard I'm eliminating the texture in the other direction. Now I go back to counterclockwise, check my rim, compress my rim, get it back on center. It will have been knocked off center slightly from all the movement of the tool. That's my texture in the vertical form. Now I'm going to shape and rib it outward, and if I'd like to, I can use the kidney rib. Hold that with the two hands at 5 o'clock and start to rib the interior wall outward, rounding it, tapering it to the inside shoulder, meaning that I'm not pushing the inside bottom shoulder out so far that I'm changing the interior diameter. And notice as I round this, I'm going to stop any minute, how exaggerated that texture became on the exterior wall. I'm then going to soften and clean up my rim, And when it's bone dry, all these really sharp edges here, when it's bone dry, I'm going to take a scouring pad, like a 3M nylon pad, and I'm just going to clean those sharper edges, because in my studio we fired a cone 1011, and glaze on those sharp edges would make it very sharp, like a ceramic bread knife. And I will soften those, but I don't want to soften them now while it's damp, because I'll impair the texture. So that is my textured bowl using the Japanese clay comb, creating a twill or a textile or a weave design and a symmetrical rim. So thanks again for joining us at the Canton Clay Works.